Okay, so here we have a standard form question. So look at the table quite carefully and we can see that we've been asked to compare, well, if I were you, I'd actually write down the ones I've been asked to compare to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Oh, I think I need to move my writing down the camera a little bit. Hopefully I'm going to do that. Yeah, there we go. So I've written down the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean, and I've been asked to find the difference between them. So I need to know which one's bigger than which, and of course if you look at the index numbers you can see that you're comparing an 8 and a 7. So clearly the one with the bigger index number is going to be larger than the other one. Okay, so the Atlantic looks like it's much bigger, an order of magnitude bigger than the Indian Ocean. And difference of course means subtraction or taking away. So let's do that then. Now I'm going to do this initially without a calculator, but of course you should know how to do this on your calculator too. So I've got 1.06 times by 10 to the 8, and I'm taking away 6.86 times by 10 to the 7. Now I'm going to write this out as real numbers, so I've got my decimal point. I'm going to make it bounce 8 times because I'm making this 8 times bigger, so a factor of 8, or an order of 8 bigger. So I've multiplied it by 10 8 times, and that's given me this huge number. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to multiply 6.86 by 10 7 times, and that's going to bounce the decimal point 7 places. So I'm going to move those. I'll put 7 arches, fill them in with zeros, and now I've got my two numbers that I need to subtract one from the other. Now you probably wouldn't do it exactly this way in an exam, but the important thing is that you know how to, because it's not good enough just to use your calculator. You've really got to know what you're getting and why. Okay, so I'll just do the subtraction. And there's another reason I'm doing it this way as well, because if you do the subtraction with standard form on your calculator, you won't get an answer in standard form. Yet the question on this exam paper is saying give your answer in standard form, so you must know exactly what's going on. So I'm doing my subtraction, which I'm sure you can all do, and there it is. Now remember, standard form, you have to start with a number between 1 and 10, which is going to be 3.74 in this case, and just think, how many times will I move that decimal point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be 7 moves. So to write this down properly in standard form, I need to say the answer is 3.74 times by 10 to the 7 is the difference between the size of the Atlantic Ocean and the Indian Ocean. Okay, there we have it. Right, now we need to look at part B. So let's have a little look at that. Let's just change the question over. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. Yes, I'm going to show you how to do this on the calculator. So I'm typing the numbers. Now look, I hope you know where the standard form button is. It's right in the bottom in the middle. Press that and then press the power, which is 8, and then press equals. It turns it into a number. And I'm going to take away 6.86 times by 10 to the 7, so 6.86 times 10 to the 7. So you see I didn't use the multiply button, I used the standard form button. And that gives me the Indian Ocean number, taking one away from the other. It's 3.74. Now how do I get it to standard form? Well, you can't really, but you can press the ENG button, the ENG button. It does get it quite close, but that's not a standard form answer. So be careful. So if I make the first number 10 times smaller, I need to make the second bit 10 times larger. Right, here's the B question. They're asking us to find how much larger is the Pacific Ocean than the Arctic Ocean. So I'm actually going to translate this English into maths. So what to do is you write down your sentence. Pacific is k times bigger than Arctic, as we have in the question. And I'm going to translate this. The Pacific, 1.56 times by 10 to the 8, is, the way to translate is an equal sign. K times, and then bigger than 1.41 times by 10 to the 7. And of course, if I want to get k by itself, which I do, that's the question, then I'm going to divide both sides by 1.41 times by 10 to the 7. And that leaves me with the value of k. Alrighty. Now I've got that. Well, there's many ways I could do this. I'm quite looking forward to dividing the 10 to the 8 by the 10 to the 7, because that's going to cancel all the 10s downstairs and just leave me with 1 10 up top, which means I've got 15.6 in the numerator and 1.41 below, and that's what's going to equal k. So now I might get my calculator and do that sum, and it tells me that k is approximately equal to, I think it was 11. 11. There we have it. So approximately equal to 11. So there we can conclude now that the Pacific Ocean is roughly 11 times bigger than the Arctic Ocean. If you write full sentences, you're not going to make a mistake. Okay, so it's time to look at the report from the examiner, and I think this went quite well. Yeah, only a minority fell short, by not putting their answer in standard form. That's a danger if you just use the calculator. The calculator will not put your answer into standard form, so make sure you change it. Okay, and there we have the answers. 3-mark question. Okay.